Hi, my name is Lindsay Berger. I'm applying to be on Season 3 of King of the Nerds on TBS. I'm originally from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and I just graduated from Oklahoma State University in Stillwater, Oklahoma. I'm 23 years old, and I am a nerd because I love pugs, mermaids, Harry Potter, books, Big Bang Theory, pretty much anything you could name it, I love it. In addition to all the other things I love, I also was raised watching Bill Nye the Science Guy and Magic School Bus. And because of that, Bill Nye the Science Guy is one of my heroes. And this past semester, he came and spoke at my university, and I had the chance to meet him. So here are two pictures from when I got to meet him. I dressed up in a Bill Nye shirt, and I wore my lab coat and a DNA karyotype of my grandmother on my dog tag. And in this picture, I'm showing him the email he sent me for my 7th birthday that I still have. I was very excited at age 7 to get an email from him, and I still hope to get an email from him someday, because I did email him a copy of this picture and everything after the event, and because he said he wanted a copy of the email. So that was a very cool experience I got to do. Also this semester, I grew up taking all different types of science classes at the local science museum, and one of the main things I loved as a child was space and rocketry. I went to space camp 9 times. I built more rockets than I can count and launched them all. The biggest one I've ever launched was a 3-stage D rocket, D engine size rocket. And this semester I needed an additional hour of credit to graduate, so I signed up for a weekend rocketry course for 1 credit hour. And this is the rocket I built for it. It's, you know, the basic model rocket type. It was the fastest rocket I've ever built. It was kind of my own personal mission because I'm very competitive. I was like, I'm going to beat everyone in here, and I did, even while helping most of the guys in class, because I was actually the only girl in the class, and I still beat them. And they were like, how do you know how to do all this? And I was like, I've been doing it since I was 5. It's just what I do. In addition to science, I'm also very passionate about pugs. I have 3 adorable pugs and a Belgian Malinois at home. I love to play with them. They also love to cuddle with me at night. It's part of my favorite thing of having pugs. I wish I could have one here for you today, but instead they're at home with Mom. So instead I have a stuffed pug I've had since middle school to represent pugs. And as I'm sure you figured out, I really like mermaids. I have a mermaid tattoo on my leg. And I've been passionate about mermaids pretty much since the day I was born. If I see something with a mermaid on it, I automatically have to have it, so I have a pretty large collection of mermaids at this point. It's something my whole family kind of teases me about, but I think they get a good laugh out of it. So I would have more science stuff to show you at this time, but I currently am moving out of my own nirvana, as I call it. Because my life is in boxes at the moment, everything's been boxed up, and yeah. I do have so much stuff I could have shown you, but I am in a crunch time to get moved out of this apartment while shooting this video. Before, I had posters of Harry Potter on the walls, I had a periodic table of elements, shower curtain, and a poster on my wall. I have well over 1,000 books. I love any kind of book I can get my hand on, so I'm a big reader, and in fact, a lot of times I will go out and buy additional textbooks that are not assigned by my class, and I'll just read them for fun. The most interesting book I bought recently was the large neuroscience book. The neuroscience book was introduced to me by my behavioral endocrinology teacher last fall semester, and I went out and bought it immediately. It's been one of my favorite books to read, although I don't recommend reading it in bed because it is 5,000 pages and it hurts when it falls on your face. Just word of warning. But she was really impressed. I went out and got it, and then she sent me a message this past semester saying, I went out and bought my new copy too, we can read them together, and it was really exciting. I'm sure you gathered I'm really passionate about neuroscience. It's what I want to pursue my PhD in. I'd like to focus on degenerative diseases, neuroscience PhD, due to the fact that my grandmother was lost to me by Alzheimer's. And if I could cure or do anything in the world that I wanted to do, I would cure Alzheimer's. It just affects too many people in this world anymore, and I want to put an end to that. Hi again. I'm now wearing another example of my nerdiness. I'm wearing my favorite lab coat that has my name and school embroidered on it. I'm also wearing my favorite Halloween costume. It is a mermaid costume, as I'm sure you can tell. I enjoy wearing this out pretty much anywhere. People really like my tail. I also have my other collection of nerdy things behind me. Up ahead of me is a research poster I made and presented after summer research at the Brookhaven National Labs on Long Island, New York last summer. I was studying AZO-C, which is an azoreductase enzyme found in Clostridium perfringens. Clostridium perfringens is a microbial organism found in the human intestines. Azo dyes are very common in society today, especially in America. They're actually banned in most other European and Canadian countries. Azo dyes are used in pharmaceuticals, clothing, food, pretty much anything. And it's because in America we like our food to be colorful, which is great, makes it more appetizing, but the problem is when it encounters Clostridium and its azoreductase enzyme in the intestine, what it does is it cleaves the nitrogen-nitrogen triple bond, and that means the bond is broken. And when this bond breaks, it releases carcinogenic properties, which is a problem. So basically your pretty food is possibly giving you cancer. So what I did is I set about to determine the actual structure of that azoreductase enzyme in Clostridium, because we don't actually know the structure of it yet, so we can't determine which part of the structure is the most problem area, is the most of a problem. So to determine that, I set about by auto-inducing the Clostridium, and then I used different concentrations of solutions to grow crystals. And then once I had crystals grown, as you can see by my pictures back here, we took them to the synchrotron light source there at Brookhaven, which is one of the most powerful light sources in the country. And I got this diffraction pattern from one of my crystals. Unfortunately, it does show that my crystals are salts, which is very common in crystallography. You get more salt crystals than you do protein crystals. It's just part of the trade, even though I spent 10 weeks on it. Oh well. So you can tell it's a salt by these dots. This is indicative of a salt pattern. If it was more clustered around the beam point, that would be a protein pattern. The proteins are very, very small. Like most crystals, ideally we want 8 angstroms in size, but well, I mean the only Clostridium protein that's been crystallized for sure was 2 angstroms in size, so it was very, very small. It was almost unusable. This is an example of my gel I ran to confirm I had pure protein before I began the crystallization process in the 96 well plates. It was really great. We actually had a robot to do those plates for us. I did one by hand. Don't ever do it again. I was there for 2 hours. While my results were not conclusive of what I was looking for, it was a very good learning opportunity for me, and I want to go back and do more research. I did research at my home institution of Oklahoma State University with Dr. Gilbert John, also in microbiology with AZO-C. So I intend to continue my research career in the future. I would like to focus more on neuroscience now, but I believe my microbiology background will give me a strong background for finding the solution to Alzheimer's. So. In conclusion, I just wanted to talk about why you should pick me for the show and why I want to be on the show. I would like to be on the show for 2 reasons. One, I am very interested in getting young women and Native Americans into science, and mathematics, and engineering. As a female Native American, these 2 underrepresented demographics are very close to me. I have seen how much science can change people's lives. I've worked with girls at Stillwater Middle School in an engineering program once a week to encourage them to pursue science. I also was a teaching assistant at the local science museum in high school. I got to work with kids ages 4 to 18 during that program, and so I got to encourage them to pursue science and do all different types of science with them. It is something I'm very passionate about, and I think being on the show would help me broaden my platform base so I could reach more Native Americans and young women in science. And I really want to encourage them to pursue any dream they have of theirs, no matter how much they think they can't do it. Because I've been through a lot in my college years, and I can truly tell you, you can do anything you want. And because of that, I live by a quote, "Failure is not an option." It's from the NASA files. I actually have it tattooed on my back, on my neuron. But it's my favorite quote of all, and it's another reason why I'm applying for the shows, because I know I can, and I know I will make it on there if you really, really like me. So remember, failure is not an option. This is my neuron on my back. Along the axon, it reads "Failure is not an option," which I just told you is my favorite quote. And my final reason for wanting to be on the show is I'm interested in writing a research paper based on the show and how it has affected people from Season 1, Season 2, and future Season 3. I'm curious to know how it has affected them psychologically, socially. Are they more or less interested in certain areas of science? Has any negative or positive feedback online via social media affected them in any way? Has it changed the way they think? Basically, I want to emphasize, especially the winners, since I know they're probably going to receive the most negative and positive comments, what it has done to them from a psychological and sociological standpoint. I think it'd be very interesting to study this, because I've always been curious, what does fame do to people? Because I can't call up any celebrity I want, but I still won't return my email, so I can't ask him. But I would like to talk to some people about how it's changed their life, for better or worse. Finally, I'd like to thank you very much for watching my video. I hope I get to see you all at Nerdvana very soon. Just remember, failure is not an option, and Team Lindsay. Thank you very much for watching.